Ladies and gentlemen, the American Cheering Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show, where we cover all the news quickly, succinctly, and cleverly. Well, there's a new poll. Donald Trump is leading Kamala Harris, thank God, in both Michigan and Wisconsin, 50 to 47%. I'd like to know who those 47% people are. They obviously had some kind of phlebotomy. I mean, how the hell can you vote for Kamala Harris as president? Harris faces a tight race in Michigan with just that 2-4-point lead in another poll. But guess what? This is great. This lady right here, a congressman from Michigan, says Harris is underwater in Michigan. Slotkin says that. You know these congressional races, they run their own polls, they do their own thing. She knows. This is a Democratic congressman saying Harris is underwater in Michigan. Amen. All right, a poll shows 61% of military veterans support Trump in the 2024 election, 37% back Harris. Again, who the hell are these people? Netflix CEO donated a big chunk of money to Harris, and the backlash has a record number of cancellations. Good. He donated $7 million to Harris. Ugh. Nationwide Verizon out. I had T-Mobile, thank goodness. I did not have my phone go out. The Spindly Man, that's right, your world news guy had his phone out. Nationwide, is the outage back, Sabrina? Is it back on?
In a few hours, it's fixed.
Okay, it's finally fixed. All right, there's going to be a big debate tonight between Walz and J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump promises to do a play-by-play commentary. That ought to be fun. Trump criticized Harris for a Hurricane Helene response in Georgia, said that she wanted everybody to drown. Trump's the best. He goes down there. He's just so funny. Zachary Levi, remember Shazam from the movies? He's now endorsed Trump. He says it'll be career suicide, but he doesn't care. Good for him. Israeli military has initiated a ground operation in Lebanon. Go kill them all is what I say. Kill them all. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo warned of potential economic disruption of port worker strike. Guess what, folks? She's our labor secretary. Her and the president of the United States do nothing to stop 45,000 port workers walking off the job at midnight last night. What do you think is going to happen in supply chains now? What do you think is going to happen? It's not good. And Jean-Pierre responded to Stephen Ducey's questions on 13,000 illegal immigrant murder convicts by claiming the data is, look at her eyes, misrepresentative. Do you believe that? The bad guys have released 13,000 illegal murderers into our country. We got a video for you.
That has been debunked on what has been falsely misrepresented here. So we have to call that out. And so, look,
can you clarify what the misrepresentation is?
The numbers that is being put out about how many people are out has been falsely represented here. If you look at the total returns and removal of the past year, that has been higher than every year under the previous administration since 2010, if you look at it. And if we're going to report something, a data that's out there, we got to do it in a way that is not confusing the American people and certainly not lying. And so this has been fact-checked. And so this is the way that is being falsely represented here is just not okay. And they'll got to be really clear about that.
This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Your Shakespearean insult of the day is do not be a beggarly, ill-faced renegade. Be an oracle. All right, here we are with Eric Deters' local news. Kentucky Sheriff Shawn Mickey Stines, amid his first-degree murder, he walks in a judge's office, shoots him, and kills him. His lawyer says he's agreed to retire. What do you think? He's charged with murder. He's the Siddon County. It's nice, Sheriff. Nice of you to retire for us. Deadline approaches. The last day to register vote in Kentucky is October 7th. More residents have filed class action lawsuits against companies after the toxic styrene leak in Whitewater Township, including the one and only Alan Statman, who I am consulting with. That's the lawsuit that matters. Investigations underway in Erlanger following reports of a large snake. Now, my wife and I talked about this at dinner last night. What's the definition of a large snake? Do you call the authorities when you see a big black snake? Hell no. You only got to call the authorities if it's like a python, right? And if there's a python, how do you lose a python? I'm just saying. Coming up next, World News with Jamie Spindley.
Thank you for the introduction, Eric. The latest world headlines. Israeli forces carried out airstrikes in Damascus, Syria, resulting in several casualties. Meanwhile, Israel's military confirmed it launched limited ground operations in southern Lebanon, with escalating tensions in the region. Large explosions were heard over Beirut after Israel authorities issued evacuation warnings to residents in 3 districts, signaling potential further escalation in the conflict. 3 people were killed and 15 others injured in a stabbing spree inside a Walmart in Shanghai. Unbelievable. I'm not going to Walmart anymore. Police arrested a 37-year-old man identified as Lin, who reportedly came into the city to vent his anger over a personal financial dispute. The incident has sparked security measures in the area as authorities continue their investigation. In other news, a school bus carrying 38 students and 6 teachers caught fire in Bangkok, Thailand, resulting in 25 deaths and multiple injuries. The accident occurred when a tire burst, causing the bus to crash into a barrier, igniting a blaze that engulfed the vehicle. 16 individuals were taken to nearby hospitals as officials continue to assess the situation and provide support to the victims and families. Unbelievable, very sad. And the United Kingdom is shutting down its final coal power station, Ratcliffe-on-Soar, ending a 142-year-old reliance on coal for electricity production. The closure represents a significant step towards the United Kingdom's environmental goals of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The move highlights the country's commitment to transitioning away from coal, the most polluting fossil fuel, in favor of greener energy alternatives. You're up to date on the world news. Stay tuned for Sports Without Boundaries. Take care.
All right, here we are with Sports Without Boundaries. NBA legend Dikembe Mutombo passed away at 58, young age. But the big story, of course, is rest in peace Pete Rose, who passed away at 83 years old, the day after being seen in a wheelchair with his old teammates in a Nashville memorabilia signing. There was no bigger fan of baseball. Nobody loved playing baseball more than Pete Rose. And by the way, he's now finished his lifetime ban. Now they'll let him in the Hall of Fame. It's so sad, so cruel, so mean. He never bet against the Reds, folks. He never bet against the Reds. And now we have legal gambling and everything else. But Pete Rose was a hell of a baseball player. You can make the argument based upon records, the greatest of all time. May you rest in peace, Pete, and you'll be in the Hall of Fame now. Jared Goff set an NFL record, 18 consecutive pass completions in the Lions' 42-29 victory over the Seahawks. I think he broke Kenny Anderson, the Bengals record. Braves GM Alex Antopoulos announced the Chris Sale scratch from Game 2 back spasms before the Braves versus the Mets series, but it didn't make any difference. The Braves beat the Mets, and the Braves are now in the playoffs. Titans' Mason Rudolph led the team to a victory over the Dolphins, 31-12. Will Levis has a shoulder injury. Coming up next, pop culture. Eric Deters, pop culture. Hulk Hogan is admitted to snitching on Jesse Ventura's union plan in the new Vince McMahon docuseries. By the way, I've been watching this. I'm on the last episode. It's really, really good. I've learned some things, not only about WWE and Vince McMahon, but I've learned some things about how you should handle certain things. Some pretty good stuff, some life lessons in there. Sean Diddy Combs faces heart jail conditions on a concrete floor in pretrial detention, and everybody's worried about Diddy. I'm not worried about Diddy. Diddy's a scumbag. Maybe a big rat will bite off his willy whacker. World population surpasses, you ready for this? 8 billion, tracking the numbers. Now, I just want to say something, because my friends know I use this all the time, and I got 2 people in the studio here for the first time. This is how freaking lucky you are if you were born in the United States. 8 billion people in the world. There's 340 million in the United States. So you're talking about, you represent like 5% of the world population. So just think about that. If you're born in the United States, poor, rich, or otherwise, you hit the jackpot, then you ain't living in all those other countries. Would you rather be a rich guy in Pakistan or a middle-class American? You know you'd rather be a middle-class American. Now, imagine this. You're born in the United States and you're a middle-class American. You have really hit the jackpot. If you're upper-class American, it's off the limits. I mean, just think about that, how lucky we are. We represent like 5% of the world population. But I'm telling you right now, folks, it's worth it to live in the United States. 8 freaking billion people. This is the bulldog. Unless you lived in England. If you lived in England and you're a Brit, that's okay too. This is the bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.